Just give me one sec. I'm connecting to the other one over here. Hello. Okay, so this is gonna be this is gonna be a fun time. I'm posting here on two different. Just kind of getting you guys all. Okay. Hi. Welcome to today. You're gonna see me probably flipping my eyes back and forth here as I am live both on Instagram and on Facebook right now. And the reason I'm doing this, I don't usually do this because I find I'm looking back and forth between places. It's kind of actually like being in a class when I think about it. Yeah. So of all things, I think I need what I'm going to be talking about today even more. Trying to jump on live here for you guys. And, oh yeah, I was saying the reason I'm doing both, still out there right now with the electronic difficulties. The reason why I'm jumping on both is because I want to make sure that this information can get to the most amount of people. Accessible to the most amount of people. So, and also interactive to the most amount of people at the same time. Okay, so yeah, I had some electronic difficulties there. Apparently, I couldn't figure out Facebook Live because it's been a while, and they changed some things. So, hi. Welcome to Saturday. I'm Hillary Raven Porter. I'm an integrative healer and ascension guide and mentor. And over the next little while, I'm going to be going on live, offering some free workshops. So right now, I would suggest right now, there's going to be a lot of information coming out here. And there might be some that you want to write down. So I suggest grabbing a pen and paper, just in case. Hi. Welcome to the space. Welcome to arriving. What are we going to be talking about today? So these workshops are going to be about tools you can use at home, tools that you can share with people, whether it's your family that you are in physical contact with or that you're at a distance to, as these may be beneficial during this time right now. So I focus mostly on the spiritual realms because the spiritual realms also affect our physical realm, right? Stuff will often start occurring out here, the dysregulation, before it gets in here. And right now, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of the unknown, there's a lot of the what ifs happening. And this can really affect people, whether or not they feel it right now, but down the road, because it does affect your immunity, it does affect how your vibration is. And the denser your vibration, the more susceptible you are to things coming in. Right? So we're going to talk about acupuncture at home. What is that? Acupuncture at home, I'm not going to be asking you to go and pull out your needles. We're going to go through what is acupuncture a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about what it's good for, the different types, because there's not just one. It's not just traditional Chinese medicine. There's multiple types out there as well, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about the type that I practice and where my belief system comes in. Also, ways that you can activate the points, because it doesn't have to be with needles, like I'm saying. And then we're going to talk through some points for your heart, some points for your digestion, some points for your immunity, and some points for your mind. And the heart and the mind are very interlaced. So, okay, are you ready? Let's begin. Okay, what is acupuncture? If you're on or you're watching the replay, have you ever had acupuncture? What was your experience with acupuncture? What was your reason for going to acupuncture if you choose to share that? So acupuncture is the insertion of needles at various points on the body, at designated points upon the body, to activate change in your energetic field, to activate the chi and the blood so that it can move smoothly, which then is your state of health. Because when things become stagnant, when things become tight, or they become scattered, that's when we don't feel so good, right? So there's a couple different ways that acupuncture is practiced. One of the ways that I tend to hear, people be like, oh, I've had acupuncture before, but I didn't like it, it hurt. So then my first question is, where did you go for this acupuncture? Not where did you go, but what type of acupuncture was it? was it dry needle technique? So dry needle technique is often practiced by physiotherapists. Some chiropractors are trained in it, some naturopathic doctors. So they're thicker needles, they're often unlubricated, and they're specifically put in to do trigger point release. So they're actually going in to the trigger point release spot of the muscle. I'm pushing here because there's this beautiful trigger point release point there that I love. And it's not always comfortable. It can be quite painful dry needle because it's, like I said, an unlubricated needle. They're quite thick and they're going in looking for a certain response. So the Western dry needle technique places on the emphasis on stimulating the nerves, muscles, and the connective tissues. Whereas traditional Chinese medicine, yes, you can go in and you can stimulate, like you can activate those trigger release points. It's part of the training here in BC when you get trained to be an acupuncturist because you're trained under traditional Chinese medicine. So that acupuncture point um, is actually mostly along the 12 meridians. There's Asher points, which are off the meridians. That can be any point upon the body where we choose to seek relief and to activate the chi. But around the 12 meridians, you're putting the needle in, you're activating the chi, the energy, and you're just letting it be. Now, there's also different modalities within acupuncture itself, not like outside of the dry needle technique. There's the Japanese, so they use very thin needles, shallower application. They're not waiting for the chi to arrive necessarily to the strength that TCM is looking for, traditional Chinese medicine is looking for. There's traditional Chinese medicine. There's the five elements theory. So it's based on the five element wheel. Let's see if I can remember all of them. I don't practice this way so much anymore. But we've got fire, we've got earth, we've got metal, we've got water, and we've got wood. So, right? And it's how they interact with each other. So you place the needles in based on how you want to affect change within the elements that are not in alignment. There's the Dr. Tan technique, and I think it's a 4-needle technique, but it goes in and you only do, it's like elbows and knees down, elbows down and knees down. Those are very, very activating points in those locations, right? Very powerful points. You could do full treatments with just those different points. So that's some of them. And then there's also one called esoteric acupuncture. So traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture has been around like forever. Like the first recorded written copies are from a few hundred years before the BCE, before a Common Era. But how do we not know there's stuff? We just haven't found written before that. But we have found evidence of it happening. So what they would use like in 6000 BCE and I'm sure further back, but they would sharpen bones and rocks. Can you imagine compared to now? I'm going to show you an acupuncture needle of what we use now. But they would use those, right? And things to like lancet, like the medicine people would use it to like lancet if you had boils and stuff like that. But then also TCM found these protocols and these point locations that work well together to treat certain conditions. It's a very old and tried and true medicine. So esoteric acupuncture was created by Mikyu Sankey, and this amazing man was actually supposed to go down for training. That's been kiboshed, like full training under him. So esoteric acupuncture is the activation of TCM points, but in a different way. They're activated based on sacred geometry on the body, and he takes many different energetic theories, so from the Ayurvedic, from the Kabbalah, and he placed these together to create shifts from regardless if you're on plane 1 of your existence up to plane 5. So plane 1 is denser and plane 5 is you're closer to, often the people are vegan, they don't own pets, those kinds of things. So your vibration is so fine that you're not as much in the matrix as in this matrix, right? So let's see here. So what's happening when we're activating these sacred geometry points is we're initiating the frequency of energy that resonates in harmony with you and amplifies your own energy fields. So it's creating more energetic boundaries for you, healthy boundaries. So it's basically, so if you think of TCM acupuncture going in and creating the shifts within your body physically, like very physically, And you're like, no, I've strengthened my Wei Qi, which is your protective mechanism, your protective energy field. I've strengthened that. So with esoteric acupuncture, you're actually strengthening further out into all the auric fields. I've even has seen astral traveling with this during sessions, activated the sacred geometry, laid my hands underneath my client, started into the astral realms and the healings, and then people are like, I left. And this is all the things that happened. This also can help with meditation, with connecting into the starseed home. It unifies all your energetic systems into one cohesive thought, right? Which then helps you treat the higher energetic structures and your higher consciousness. This paired with meditation is amazing. So that's what I do with a lot of my long-term clients is we work on the energetic field while here's your homework of this meditation, and the results are absolutely staggering. So today we're going to go through acupuncture points that are single acupuncture point that you can use as you feel called to. Tomorrow, Sunday, I'm going to be coming on again at 4, and we're going to be talking about morphic resonance and a pattern that deals with the points up in the head to actually connect you up into your higher self state, which is the finer vibrational state. Because the finer we keep our vibration right now, the more strength we have within ourselves, and the more we're able to come from a heart center space as well. Okay. So this combines really well with other modalities. This is why I love it. But one of the reasons, oh my goodness. Oh, yes. So a lot of times our physical ailments, especially when we're sensitives, we can feel them already externally, but they can't be seen. They don't register on our lab work, right? Because it's we feel it. So for example, I had a kidney stone. I could feel it way before they could see it. I'm like, no, it's here. It's exactly right here. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. And it took until a certain size for them to actually be able to register it. So you can actually sense what is happening in your auric field before it's coming in, and you're getting the messages that it's coming in, right? And one of the ways that we end up with this dissonance and this discord that can allow these things to penetrate is through our emotions, through fear, through worry, through sadness, through depression, through anxiety. And by clearing these emotions, by allowing these emotions to move through us and be released, we help ourselves stay strong, right? Stay heart-centered. So what can you use? So it's a little bit there. What can you use to activate these points? So like I said, you don't need needles. I don't even use needles completely in my practice all the time. When I'm doing healing fairs, I'm activating with crystals because I don't want to put needles in people in the middle of a healing fair. So what can you activate? Okay, so first let me show you a needle. Okay, so this is a needle. It comes in a sanitary package. These ones are very fine. I actually use ultra fine ones. So the finer the needle, the finer the vibration you are affecting. The finer the needle, the finer the vibration you are affecting. So the dense needles, it makes sense that when you go in for the physical pain, like the very physical pain, and when they're doing dry needling, they're using thicker needles because it's affecting your denser bodies, okay? So these guys have this little like tab to keep the needle in. Okay, so I'll show you over here first. See? Look how thin that is. See over here? Can you see? I don't know. Let's look at that. Look how thin that is. So thin and so flexible, right? Okay, so that's the needle, which you will not be using, right? I'm watching you. No needles at home. The other one you can use is crystals. I'm going to talk about the 2 types of crystals that I use. I'll show you them first, then I'll talk about a bit about the properties. Because crystals have this amazing vibration. They are connected to the earth beyond measure. They are the earth, right? So this, see that? Go up closer here. That is quartz. And this is also quartz. This is golden healer quartz. See? This is golden healer quartz. So you can activate with crystals, right? So let's say the acupuncture point was right here. So that's Li4 Hagu, large intestine 4. Ooh, it's tender. You would go in with, it's good to have the ones with the points. I mean, you can lay crystals on top of the points, but really in tune and really picturing the activation of that point and either placing it just above the skin or going onto the skin and activating those points, that point, right? So you can do it that way with a crystal. Another way that we often use in the space, and I'll send clients home with these on their skin, but you can do this at home even if you don't have these ones. So those are kind of hard to see, but these are little tiny, they're acaria seeds. Acarius, I always pronounce it wrong. But these are mustard seeds on tape. See, mustard seeds on tape. So you could take this and apply it to the point. And then what that does is that, and then you just leave it and you just go about your day. And this is constantly adding a little bit of stimulation and activating the point, whatever point you've picked up on that you are aligned with. And that will continue to do the work even while you are not connected, even if you're not thinking about it, right? Good. How you can do this at home. Seriously, get a piece of medical tape and a lentil. Or, oh, if you wanted to add heat to the point, you could do a peppercorn, right? Or a little, I'd say clove, but you'd have to have like a little nub of a clove. But anything that has that little spherical shape, I would not use salt, but the tiny beans, a mung bean, there you go. And you put it on that piece of tape and then you tape it to that point. There you go, you've got stimulation. Okay. The next, you can put things on the point. Oh, let's do the simple one. See, this is the one I totally skipped out on right away. Pressure. You have your finger. Pressure. Some people just go straight in and you just hold it down. You can also do a circular, left or right. You can use a fingernail. You can just hold it and then you can massage or not, right? Medicines, herbal medicines. Essences, energetic medicines. I just get so excited. Okay, so for example, this is a tincture. This one I've chosen is one of my acute formulas, and it's Crataegus, so hawthorn, and prunus, which is wild cherry. So this is all about the heart. So, okay, I want to affect change on the heart level through these different points. I would just literally take a drop of this and place it on the point. Right? That's it. Place it on the point. It's active. That point is so activated now. I've been stimulated with so many things. Good thing it's a good one for right now. And then you can either dab it in or you can let it dry. You don't want like a huge point. And then just let that sit, right? That's going to activate it. Because you can put these things on the points that we're going to talk about and then just let them sit. And you sit and you take this as a moment to breathe and to meditate, to really get in. Another one is essences. So essences are not essential oils. I am not trained in essential oils. I do not personally prescribe to essential oils directly on the skin, regardless if they say these are ones that are safe for the skin. That's not completely true. The only one that I am comfortable with on that is lavender, if there's like a burn or something. But even then, you have to take into account the sensitivity of the person, because this is very potent medicine that you're putting on their skin, and this can cause a lot of effects. So I am not talking about essential oils here. I'm talking about essences. Essences are the energetic information of the being captured in water and then preserved. So mine are preserved with brandy. And then water, and it's the energetic essences. So you could go to whatever you are called to. I have rose quartz here, so I would take this, same as I did with my, right, and apply it onto the skin, right? Quartz in general is amazing. Quartz essence, golden healer, we're going to talk about as well. Absolutely phenomenal for the action. So you want to look at what do they do? What energetic healing do they offer? And does that feel aligned with you to utilize on these points? Okay. So beans and tape. Oh, visualizations is the other one. You can literally sit and be like, okay, Hillary talked about this point that is located right between my breasts or on my midpoint of my chest. I'm going to focus my energy there. I'm going to focus my intention there. And you can activate the points this way. This is how I do esoteric acupuncture at a distance for people, is we go through the points together visualizing them together, as well as me attuning into their astral bodies on the table, their energetic bodies on the table, and sending the information to them while they're also visualizing. And it is powerful. So even if there's a point that you're like, I can't really activate that one, but you can activate multiple points this way as well, and then just sit feeling them all glowing, feeling them all activated. Okay. Let's see, you get those tinctures, essences, crystals, pressure. Yes, we talked about those. So I wrote down some information for you about just some brief quartz. I use quartz a lot, a lot, a lot. We see it everywhere, so we kind of like poo-poo it almost. We're all like, it's everywhere. So the familiarity makes us consider it to not be necessarily that potent. Not the case. Clear quartz amplifies, it moves, it shifts, it helps clear and release. And that is because of its structure, the way that it's crystalline inside. So just by holding it, you double your biomagnetic field, double your protective layer. And what I like about auric protections is that it still lets things in and out, but more of as you choose and as is aligned with you. It's not so like, right? By I mean like actual armor. It's considered a master healer that's good for any condition. It stimulates the immune system and brings the body back into alignment and into balance. It also harmonizes all your chakras and aligns your subtle bodies, right? So this is also quartz I use a lot with Tamiana crystal healing. That is like the main crystal. And there's no wonder why, because of all these amazing things that it does. Now this one is newer to me. This is Golden Healer Quartz. I just discovered it January, and I was like, I need that. We just got the Crystal Bibles. If you don't know the Crystal Bibles, I'm kind of going off of acupuncture here, but you know, that's what happens. Tangents. These are the Crystal Bibles. I'm absolutely in love with these books. There's 3 of them, and the information in them is absolutely phenomenal. So the Golden Healer Quartz, it carries the divine essence of all that is. It's highly concentrated with universal life force energy. If you know Reiki, Reiki is all about channeling the universal life force energy into your being to help create shifts, to help create changes, right? It also will raise your vibration. So this crystal vibrates really high. I'm actually getting really high touching it and activating points. So tangents may continue to happen. So this raises your vibration to the crystal. So if you're at a denser vibration, it will bring you up here. Okay. It is a catalyst for a profound spiritual activation, and it opens your alta major chakra, which is at the base of your skull by your cerebellum, which then connects to your pineal gland. So the base of the skull is also where you activate your ancient knowing and your ancient wisdom. This is a straight connection to past lives, ancient knowledge, ancient wisdoms of your own and also of the collective consciousness. So this will activate that as well. Part of the Alta Major is also that this is where the imprinting of the divine codes is. So when you activate this, the divine love and the cosmic evolution to be fully manifested on Earth is activated. Sounds like a really pretty great crystal for this time with our lives, doesn't it? Okay, so those are those 2. How are you doing? If there are any questions, please feel free. Be like, I need more clarity on that, or what exactly do you mean by this? Or I thought about using it like this, because sometimes when we're having these chats, stuff will come up and you're like, ooh, I could use it like this, or that could happen, and what do you think of this? And this is like part of the greatness about being together live in this manner. Okay, ready to talk about some points? So points are used in different ways within different theories. And when I say theories, it's the modalities. So we talked about traditional Chinese medicine, we talked about esoteric acupuncture, we talked about Dr. Tan's, we talked about, did I say Japanese already? Japanese acupuncture. There's lots of different ways that the points can be put together, okay? So we're going to talk about singles today, though. We're not going to talk necessarily about the combos. I am a proponent for the sacred geometry upon the body. So taking and being like, okay, I'm going to do these 3 points, and they create a triangle, right? So for example, the Ren 17 point in the middle of the chest, and then 2 points on the legs. And then you have this triangle, because the triangle is the strongest structure in nature. All right. Okay, here we go. The first set of points we're going to talk about are heart points. So this is to help calm and align and to bring you back to your heart center. Right now, there's a lot of fear, and what that does is it creates this in your energetic field, right? The shock. Think of shock. And so these points will help bring you back to center. So Ren 17, Shenzhong, is called chest center, and it's the pericardium mu. I'll get more into that in a second. So where is this located? So it is located basically in the middle of your sternum, right here. It's the fourth intercostal space. That's okay if you don't know what any of that means. Basically, it's at nipple height, straight across in the middle of the chest, and you'll kind of feel a hollow. And the beauty of these points is on everybody, it's not in exactly the same spot. So if you're palpating down your chest and you're like, okay, I need to go to the fourth, and by that, if you want to find it as the fourth intercostal space, you feel underneath here for the hollow, and you go 1, and then you go over the rib 2, over the rib 3, 4. Oh, I got a lot of, those are all tender points. But as you're going down, you just kind of all of a sudden land in this point, and you're like, oh, and that's with any of them. You'll feel that it is different, right? But yeah, you're going about midpoint. It's about level with the nipples, like I said. And this is the pericardium mu. So the pericardium is a protector of the heart. So by affecting the pericardium, it resonates through, vibrates through to the heart and affects this change. This is also the Hui meeting point of Qi. What is a Hui meeting point? So Hui meeting point is where all the Qi of the body comes together. So by here, you're going to be able to affect the Qi throughout your whole body. The Mu is also a place where it gathers and connects. So in front Mu points are places where Qi of the Zong or Fu organs, so of the Yang or the Yin organs, gathers and concentrates. So this is where all the pericardium energy collects. This is also the meeting point of all the Qi. I gotta stop palpating that. This is also where the spleen, the kidney, the small intestine, and the sanjiao meet. So you're also affecting change in all those levels as well, and within those organ systems. And organs, when I say that, it's not necessarily your direct organ. Yes, it can be, but it's also the energetic organ. It's also the energetic impact of what that organ does, the emotion, the process in the body that it contributes to energetically. Okay, so this also helps regulate the chi in the chest. So what happens when you get scared? What happens when we get that band around our chest? It wraps all the way around and all the way around the back. It can be hard to breathe. We feel the chest pain. Sometimes we can feel like we're actually having a heart attack, right? And we're just like panic attacks, anxiety. This point is really good for helping us bring back to center and just breathe into that space. Another one, PC6, Niguan, inner pass. You've probably heard of this one, but didn't know it. You know those wristbands that you get at the pharmacy that have the little bead in them, and they say, oh, put it here on your wrist for nausea. That's pericardium 6. So how do we find this point? We find it, so take your forearm, right, here to here. I want you to find the middle point between your wrist and your elbow in the inner forearm. I don't know how to best show you this. Inner forearm, right? So the soft yin surface. Find the midpoint. Now, split that point up again. So we got midpoint to the wrist. Find the midpoint of that. Following me? And then move up towards your wrist about a thumb width. And again, feeling for that point. So if I go up about a thumb width, I'm like, okay, there you go, that's on that one. But then if you do it on the other side, halfway point, the quarter point, and then about a thumb width up. This one on me is it's a little bit down and a little bit over on this side. Yeah. So this one is the Luo connecting point of the pericardium. So this is connecting the pericardium to the heart. Again, heart. It's going to also help to unbind the chest and help relax that tension that you could be feeling here. It's going to regulate your heart. It's going to help calm your spirit. If you hold worry within your stomach, which a lot of people do, this is going to also help to calm that unsettled feeling within your digestion. Okay. It's also good for insomnia, for fear, for fright, for sadness. Now imagine pairing, like we talked about triangles, right? Activating this point here, and then activate the, let's see, that's going to be always activate your right first, which is your power arm. So power, left is self. But activate this one, and then activate the right one for pericardium, and then the left one for pericardium, 6, and let yourself sit and just picture that flow happening. There's your triangle, there's your strength, there's your structure, there's your heart. Okay, now let's talk about some stomach points. Well, a stomach point, I guess. And the reason stomach, not because of this worry, I know pericardium helps with that nausea and stuff and that unalignment that we can feel. We're talking about digestion because it's not just about us digesting food. It's also about us digesting our reality. Digesting our reality. Sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes we're unable to. Sometimes it's that fat, greasy food that we really are not doing well with, that we're like, kind of tastes interesting, we don't really want it, and then it feels gross in our body too. And sometimes that's what can happen with our reality. We still have to digest it. It's still part of our reality. Not our whole reality, but it's still part of our reality. So this is Ren 12. Zhangwan, middle cavity. This one I lived off of when I was pregnant because it's really helpful for nausea and upset stomach. So I want you to find your belly button and I want you to find your sternocostal angle. So your sternocostal angle is if you palpate your rib cage, so press on your rib cage up until you reach the center point. And that's your sternocostal angle. Some people have quite a defined little like bump there because the sternum goes. I have my whiteboard. This is why I grabbed my whiteboard. So some people, yes, this is my rib cage. Some people have like a little, like, it's called the xiphoid process, right? So if you have your belly button and you have your sternocostal angle up here, you want to find the midpoint. And that's it. You'll often feel a little indent. So sternocostal angle, belly button, and then you find the midpoint, and it's just like, oh, that feels so good. So this is the stomach mu. So what did we talk about the mu? That is where the meeting of the energy is for that organ, whatever the mu is. So this is the stomach mu, right? It's also the Hui meeting point of all the fu. So what is the fu? The fu are the hollow organs. They are the organs that transmit and digest. They don't really store anything. It's just like this vacuous, like we have the stomach, we have the gallbladder, things that are just like hollow, right? They just pass right through. So we have all of those things. Yeah, so we're also affecting the energy of all of those guys, right? So a lot of these points, these are power points, master healer points. I love them. So there's also the meeting here of the small intestine you're affecting, your sanjiao. So the sanjiao is the triple burner. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And it helps with the flow of everything to go through. And then the stomach, okay? So this is going to regulate your qi. And what do we talk about qi? Qi is your energy. It's going to regulate your qi. It's going to alleviate your pain. It's also going to help treat the stomach and the spleen. So the stomach and the spleen are your post-heaven essence. They're like very, very solidly your origin of your post-heaven essence qi, because that's what you're bringing food in, gu qi. You're bringing in the food. And then you're TNTing it, your transformation and transportation of this. And then it goes through the other cycles to help create the air and the blood. Right? To mix with the air to create the blood, not to create the air. Oh my goodness. So this is they're very important. Because if you don't have enough of this post-heaven essence, this post-heaven energy, this chi, you're going to take it from your kidneys. And your kidneys are your pre-heaven essence, which you only have so much of. That's what you were given when you were born. So we want to keep this post-heaven essence running tickety-boo and digesting our environment and our reality. So again, this is a good point. So let's say you worry with your tummy. Some people get headaches, some people get the chest pain, some people get the tummy pain. This is an amazing point for that. Okay, sure. Oh, also very good for heart pain. Because that's what's so beautiful about this medicine, about acupuncture, regardless of the theory that you're following, is it affects the whole body. You're not just like, oh, it's only my heart. No, totally cordoned off. It's just my heart. That's it. It's not how this works, right? It's your whole body. It's your whole being, because you are a whole being. Okay, immunity. Well, all these points are good for immunity because they're all going to help the chi flow. They're all going to help shift your vibration to that finer vibration. Oh, thanks, Sabrina. She says this is a very clear description of locations and TCM foundations. I know it can get kind of convoluted sometimes, hey? Sometimes it's like, no, it's this simple. So this point I am in love with because, so some people are like, no, acupuncture doesn't work. If you go look on Wikipedia, it says that it's like a shysta type of sham, you know, like this doesn't work, don't even follow it, that kind of thing, which is pretty entertaining because we have proof that it works. And this point is one of those points. So this is stomach 36. And why I love this point is because there's scientific evidence out there. They've actually done full research on this point. It increases your white blood cells, which then does what? It's a boost to your immunity, which increases your protection. You're able to stay healthy. I mean, you have to do other things too. You can't just be like sitting at home pressing on this point and then like eating all this food that's like full of sugar and, you know, even though I know it's comfort food, but you still have to do these other things, but this is going to help benefit. Like recently, my kidlet had strep. I mean, it happens, kids, right? And we did these points and people are like, how is he well so much quicker? And it's like, well, herbs and acupuncture, right? So stomach 36, Susan Lee. So, I'm not even really going to be able to draw this one. This one's kind of a challenge to draw. So basically, it's on, so if you take your leg, so you take your leg, can you see? And you run your finger up that bone right at the front, right? You can feel that one, your shin bone, and you run your finger up. And then you're going to get to this bump. So it's not quite your knee, right? It's not your knee, but there's this like little bump. Then you're going to go to the outside of that. Oh, mine's tender. All these tender points. Maybe I'll do some work on myself after this. But you go up, and then when you hit that bump, you kind of fall over to the side, the outside of the leg, and it's literally just like bloop over the bone, okay? Right into the fleshy part. So that's stomach 36. Technically, it's the anterior crest of the tibia, one chun lateral. So a chun, everybody's chun is different. Everybody's chun is different. Basically the width of your thumb. Yeah? Basically. But that's again, you're like, okay, it helps you find the general location. And then good morning, Sylvia. And then you can palpate around to find the point that's the most tender. I think mine might be tender because I was actually wearing, so these seeds that I showed you earlier, they're seeds on tape. You can actually, there's also ones that are little tiny needles on the tape, and then you can put them on the skin so they're stimulating even more, right? So stomach 36 is a hussy and an earth point, so it's cooling, it's grounding, right? It's going to harmonize your stomach. What does harmonize your stomach mean? It means it's going to regulate it and help it bring back into alignment. It's going to fortify the spleen. It's funny, I got these notes out of our main like textbook manual that they give us way, way back when. Fortify the spleen means help the spleen work. That's it, help the spleen work. Better. So your original chi, so we talked about this. Supporting your original chi that you get from your kidneys, so your pre-heaven essence, by not pulling on it. So it's supporting it by offering the things that your body can use and they don't have to go into those stores. It's like if you go on a keto diet and all of a sudden you're eating away at your fat. I guess that's kind of how we're going to look at it. So the kidneys are your fat, and if you're not eating the proteins, then you're going to be drawing on that fat for the energy source, but you want this kidney energy to help keep you vital. All right? It's going to tonify your chi again, your energy, and nourish your blood and yin. Calms your spirit. Another one that's calming to the spirit. It's also great for headaches, stomach upset, and your shortness of breath. So if you are feeling anything happening here, it tonifies the chi of your whole body. So again, top to bottom. I feel like a broken record with a lot of these points, but that's what's so powerful about these. It also builds your Wei Qi. So this is your protective Qi, right? When your Wei Qi is weak, you can have entry of pathogens, especially, so this is a big one. I know it's hard for a lot of people right now because the sun's out and it's starting to be beautiful. Protect your neck. This is a main entry point for pathogens. Protect your neck. Wear your scarves still. Keep them warm. Your ankles, you want to keep them warm. And you want to keep your lower back warm. Those are all going to support your health and your immunity, protecting your kidneys, not allowing the cold to enter the channels that run up your legs and directly into the body. Protecting that back here, the Wei Qi. We're actually doing a protocol later on today. Me and my partner, we've got all these tools. Let's do this. So, and one is a Wei Qi support. And that's a full sacred geometry that really, really helps strengthen that area. Right? It also helps revive the yang. So if you feel depleted, it helps revive that and bring that back up. Yeah. Oh, and I wrote down, in the Song Dynasty, way long ago, they declared that by using stomach 36, all diseases can be treated. And they say to keep this point wet. What did they mean back then? I am not suggesting you do this, but there's this thing called moxa. And it's an herb that they would make into cones, and they would place the cones on stomach 36 and burn it down until it actually burned the skin to create that formation of a blister. And they would keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. And that's how they saw that these white blood cells were proliferant, right? When they started doing the science, they're like, oh, we don't really do that in the Western culture. They still do that over in the Asian cultures, but not here so much for various reasons. But that just shows the power of this point, right? Okay, let's get to your mind. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, a couple points left. We're in mind and power, okay? So for your mind, this is to help calm your mind. Spleen 6. San Yin Jiao. So this is the 3 yin intersection. So this is the point where we're going to have the liver, the spleen, and the kidney all meet. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your hand, and we're going to go to our leg again. Can't really see my leg. You can see my slippers. And you're going to, you have that bump on the inside, right? This is your medial malleolus. Can you see? I'm trying to see both videos here. Medial malleolus. And you're going to take your hand and you're just going to put it so that the edge of your hand is at that bump, and then the rest of your hand is up above that bump, right? Now that point is basically where the edge is of your hand up. Here, I'm going to try and draw you a picture. Okay, so I got knee. Okay, you ready? Can you see my picture? So this is your medial malleolus. So this is the inside. See, this is your big toe. This is the inside. This is the medial malleolus. So what you do, and this is just a total, like, this is how we most successfully find the point without having to measure and go through all the chun and stuff, right? So you put your hand there, and then the point is on that edge. Okay? See, yeah, that edge. And what you do, so you have on the inside, you can feed, so you have the bone, and it's going to be behind the bone on the inside of your calf, right? So here, here, okay, good. Location. Ooh, that one's tender too. Oh my goodness, falling apart over here. Okay, so don't use this one. Don't over palpate this one, or use this one if you're pregnant, okay? Because it has a very, like, it is specifically indicated to help bring on labor. So I highly suggest don't be using this if you are pregnant, please. So this one tonifies the spleen and stomach. Again, what did we talk about? The spleen and stomach, they are the source of the chi, of the food that we take in. It helps to transform it, and it helps to support, right? It helps to offer. And how do we feel? We know how we feel. That's the thing, is this stuff is so common sense. It's not that common. But it is so, we know this as a truth. We have a knowing of this stuff. Because how does it feel when our stomach's out of alignment? When we feel sick, we're like, ugh, I don't even want to eat. Or if we eat the wrong foods, we're like, ugh, I feel gross. Because it affects the rest of our bodies, right? This one also harmonizes the liver. So the liver is the smooth flow of chi throughout the whole body. So when the liver is not happy, so let's say anger makes you be like, right? So when the liver's not happy, it's creating this like around everything else, and the smooth flow of chi doesn't happen. It's also about making the blood in Chinese medicine. So if we're not making the blood, we can feel kind of crazy because we have nothing to ground out in. What is blood? Blood is iron. What is iron? Grounding. It's the earth, right? Iron deficiency. You feel ungrounded. You feel lightheaded. You can't think properly, right? So our blood, we want our blood to be nourished, okay? And it also tonifies the kidney. You know what element is related to kidney? I keep bringing up kidney a lot. So the element that is with kidney is water. Water is related to fear. So when we get this fear, we get the shock, it's affecting our kidneys. So we want to take care of that, right? So we have these two triangles. We have the heart, and then we have the kidney. So the water, so kidneys water, heart is fire. We need the kidneys to cool the heart, because if the heart becomes too inflamed, we get this Shen disturbance. We get this craziness that we feel up in our head, up and out. And we're just like, we feel ungrounded again. We feel a bit crazy. So by nourishing the kidney, we keep the heart in control. But the thing is, we need some heat for the kidney. Oh, it's a cycle, shocking. Goes around. We need to keep heating for the kidney so that it can then basically, I always picture it like kind of bubbling and boiling, because then the mist goes up and it mists the heart, which then the heart heats the kidney. But if you don't have the heart heating the kidney, what's going to happen? You have a ton of water. What happens when there's a ton of water? We get bogged down. We feel kind of like, ugh, right? Stagnation happens. But then that's also where we get these emotions. So fire is that intense emotion, like it's joy, but it's also that like erraticness. Whereas water is that fear, but it's also awe. So what's that state of awe? That state of awe is when we go out and we just have that moment. I often go back to exercise because that's how most people relate. I get it when I meditate. I get it when I'm just out in nature. I get it when I'm painting. But that space where you can feel, it feels like this breath opening up in your head. And you're just like, oh, it feels so good. Yeah. Okay. Calms the spirit. Also affects the stomach stuff. So back to spleen 6. Tangenting there. Chi and blood, again, so good for chi and blood. It helps also with dampness. Dampness. It helps drain that dampness. And then it also is good for insomnia. Another thing that's good for insomnia, not really related to acupuncture, but is Oralite. Dream space, you might know your dream space is getting kind of crazy right now, or you're actually having a hard time falling asleep because your mind is going, monkey mind is going. Do I have Oralite here? I don't actually have my piece of Oralite with me right now, but I have an Oralite essence that I made with my Oralite. And we put it on the head of the bed. We have quite a big chunk. It's like a good, like, I don't know, I'd say 7 pounds maybe. And all of a sudden it's like I've been able to sleep through the night because it helps clear. It helps remove that. I don't like keep saying what that is. You know what that is. Okay, next one. I call this one the unicorn horn. And so it's the next 2. So we're going to talk about 2. Do 24 Shen Ting, which is the courtyard of the spirit. It's right up here in the hairline. Also tender on me, apparently. And then the other one is Yin Tong, which a lot of you are going to know, but it's right here between the eyebrows. So we're talking third eye, right? So they're interchangeable. Go with which one feels good for you. Some people, they're like, I hate this one. This one actually makes me, Yin Tong actually makes me a little more activated, and it's a little too intense. And I just, or it's like, it does nothing for me whatsoever. So then I go to this one, do 24, which, like I said, I call the unicorn horn because when they have the needle in. So this one, you go right to the middle of your hairline and you go back a half a chun. So you just go back like half inch or so, half the width of your thumb. You'll be able to feel like, and you'll be surprised. I was surprised when I first started doing all this stuff. I'd be like going, I'm like, yeah, I'll kind of, whoa, there it is. And it's like right there. You'll feel these little indents and you'll feel the energy shift, right? So that one's really good for the mind, shockingly enough, its location. It's also really good for the brain, to get the brain flowing without being so monkey mind and swirling around the same things. It's also really good for mania, so that like hysterical feeling that can come when you feel out of control. Then we have Yin Tong. Hall of Impressions, third eye. Not only is it activating the third eye, but it's also calming the Shen. So what is Shen? It is the consciousness, it is your mental function and health, it is your vitality, it is your presence. So you know when you'll be talking to somebody, you're sitting there chatting to them and you're like, you are not here. Like you are completely somewhere else. And it's like you can kind of tell that they're thinking of other things, but they're not necessarily thinking of other things. They're just like not present. They almost feel disassociated. Oh, bye. Thanks, Eli. He's on the Instagram. The double screen here. Love you too. And this Shen lives in the heart. So at night it goes back to the heart. Well, if the heart is feeling agitated and is not feeling grounded and is not in a centered space, that's like, it's totally like if you don't have a good home life or a home presence, you don't like where you're living, whether it be from turmoil within the home, the location of the home, or whatever, do you want to go home there? Do you get good sleep? Do you get good rest? Do you become centered back in yourself when your home space is agitated? You don't. So if your Shen doesn't feel safe in the heart, it's going to feel agitated. And that's how we begin. But again, even though it doesn't specify this for unicorn horn, do 24, I use them interchangeably. Okay. Okay. Last two sets of points. It's all about your chi. It's all about your energy. Okay. So these guys, both of them. So if you take your pubic symphysis, what's that? So your pubic bone. So if you run your hand down your abdomen, all the way down to the top of your pubic bone, and then you touch your belly button, that space within there is basically your dantian. So your dantian is this energy. That's basically the source of all your energy, right there. Right? That's why often you will see when you're doing like qigong or any of these different meditation exercises or movements, they're like, okay, let's focus our energy in there, and they put their hands there because you're building up and it's really strong, building up and moving that energy, right? So the first point in this area, and we'll talk about a way you can activate both, is Ren 4, Guanyan, which is the gate of origin. So this is the front mu. Again, we talked about the mu. What's that? That's where all it coalesces for that organ. And it's good. Often when you palpate here, if there's a challenge within that organ, you will feel it. Like you're just like, okay, it's like the emergency point. So of the small intestine, what is our small intestine? Yes, it helps us digest food, but it's not even that. It's the assimilation. So if we're not assimilating what we're digesting, then we're still unaligned. Because we're like, great, I digested that. Yeah, I logically have thought of it, but I've not actually assimilated it into my system. So then next time I'm approached by it, I'm going to have to digest it again because I still haven't assimilated it. I still haven't come to a calm, centered space. I still haven't come to an energetic vibration that works for me in regards to my reality. Okay, so this is also the spleen, the liver, and the kidney meet here. So once again, you're activating the spleen, the liver, and the kidney. This is how you can increase your original chi here, right? You can also benefit your essence, your essence, your truth, your core. I always see essence in Chinese medicine. They talk about your essence, like we said, post-heaven and pre-heaven essence. So it's like think of it as like your fuel. But I also think the essence of you, your core. This is how I've started to view this one. It also treats and nourishes your kidney. We talked about what? It's tonifying and it's nourishing your kidney. It's offering that blanket while it's feeling fear. Blanket. It's cozy. I picture it just like wrapping it up, right? It helps you to keep up your energy. Because right now, these dense energies, we want to like start boosting that up. Because really now I'm a doer. Once I get to a point, I'm like, I'm done with this. Now what can I do to move forward? And that's where we're at right now. We get to create this next reality. Not what they tell us it has to be. We do. So this is all about yin and blood and nourishing. So yin is calming, is cooling, is I think like winter, like that hibernation, but like in a cozy way. I'm picturing like tea and you're just like, oh, it's so nice and cozy and I love it, right? Yin, motherly, feminine energy, the moon. Okay. So this is also part of what they call the cinnabar field. So this, I didn't even tell you the location. So if you take the point between your belly button and the top of your pubic bone and find the midpoint, okay? So between your pubic bone and your belly button. I'm trying to draw a picture. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I think my leg was better. Okay, so not the best. Let's see if you can see it. You see? I guess I should have made that part bigger. So let's say your pubic bone is here. So you'll feel it. Like there's a definitive edge if you run your hand down. I don't know if you guys can all see. So you're going to find the midpoint. And then you're literally just going to move down half a chun. So like half a thumb width, like half an inch down right on the midline. So it's going to be like right there. Okay. Now the next one we're going to talk about, since I have this up, is going to be the midpoint and one whole thumb width above. So this is number 6 and this is number 4. Let me see those. Yeah. See? Okay. Good. If you need more clarity, please let me know. So now Ren 6, that is the one that was just above the belly button, okay? Like about an inch above the belly button. So the distance between, I'll talk about the measurements for a sec. The distance between your belly button and the top of your pubic bone is about 5 chun, 5 inches is what they say. So the halfway mark is about 2.5, right? And the number 6 is just 1.5 chun below that. So that's why we're gauging. But again, you're going in and you're like, okay, it's going to be around here and you're going to get to that point that feels the most accurate for you. Okay. So Chi Hai is the sea of Chi. What have we been talking about? Chi, energy, building this up, keeping this flowing, not letting it get stagnant so that things are moving through. It's like if your lymph get clogged. What happens? You feel gross because nothing can move through. So you want to keep it moving through. This again also supports and fosters that original chi. It helps support it so you don't have to be depleted from that area. It tonifies your chi as well. And tonifies your kidney, which we talked about, and strengthens your yang. So we have Ren 4 and Ren 6. Ren 4 is more about the yin in the blood, that cooling, nourishing quality. And Ren 6 is more about the yang. Because if you just tonify yin all day long, you're like, oh, I totally need that. What's going to happen? You're then going to become overcompensated with yin, right? You're going to be too cool. You're going to be too calm. It's going to be dampening. So then you want to offset that balance with the yang, right? Which is that energetic level. It's the masculine energy. It's the sun. It's the heat. Okay. So this bottom part, the location in the body where the deepest energies are stored and generated, is the dantian. So a way that you can actually activate both of these without needing to go in with any of the tools that we talked about is you take your hands, you hold them a little distance away from each other, and sometimes you can pulse. That works for some people, to feel the current between your hands. I'm pretty activated right now, so mine's pretty strong. I can actually feel a lot of heat, and I start feeling some tingling. So you do that, you can start feeling this presence between your hands. Then you can take your hands and place it right on your dantian. So you're gonna, I tend to put my thumbs in my belly button, and then place my hands just over. So it's like if you had a lower abdominal ache. And you can either place your hands right on your abdomen or you can place them a little bit away from your abdomen. And you can feel different levels of energy by doing that. I prefer the distance. That's how I get the current moving more. But some people prefer to put hands on. So this is a way that you can activate both at once. 5 minutes of intention of charged up hands onto these points. Okay. That's a lot. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that something within this helps you out and you can use some of this. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, please let me know. Like I said, I do plan on popping on here and doing more of these around various things. My goal is to be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we're going to go through the morphic resonance, which is a meditation technique that I use in my practice a lot. It connects you into the higher self states, it connects you into your antakarana, and it helps you meet yourself and stay in a calm state. It looks like my YouTube is about to cancel. So or not my YouTube, my Instagram. So much love and stardust to you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out. I am here for you. I'll talk to you guys soon.